Hey, this is Rob from jtrpodcast.com, and this is Magic Maze, the family-friendly game of shoplifting, which is a theme that you don't get very often. Players are going to work together to take these four heroes here. These pawns are going to explore the shopping centre. They're going to get to the equipment they need, which is represented by little spaces on the tiles. And when they're all on their space, you need to get all of them to their own exit. So just going to show you how that's done because it's quite unique. There's each of these tiles here with the different actions on, and each player has their own tile. So this player here can only use portals and can only move these pawns to the left. This player, all they can do is move pawns to the north. And these little arrows on the north arrows here on the tiles match up with the north arrow on this tile. So you try and keep everything pointing the same direction. And how the game plays is very simple. You turn over the 3-minute timer here and you're ready to go. And what you do is what it says you can do on your tile. So for example, the guy here can only move things north, can move pawns north. They can move any pawns they want. You can't move pawns through other pawns, but you can just keep moving them north. This player here can move pawns to the east. So there you go, they can move that to the east. Again, west and south. Moving is very, very simple. It's the other three symbols that are a bit more complicated. Not complicated, but add something to the game. So the magnifying glass over here allows you to search into new areas of the room. So when you've got the matching colour pawn on the matching colour magnifying glass, you take the top tile of the deck and you line it up there with the white arrow matching the entrance, and only the matching colour pawn with the matching colour exit is allowed to move through. And it just so happens, as if I prepared it earlier, that this represents the symbol that this pawn needs to go through. So maybe this player will move it to the north, this player will move up an escalator. That's what these do, and they're the only players that can move things up escalators. Then this player to the east, west even, and then this player to the south. And the dwarf there is on its space. So that's one of the four done. But this, of course, you've only got 3 minutes, so you can't just concentrate on one. You need to expand out the supermarket, find all four of them together, and get them all to where they should be. The other icon that I haven't told you about yet is this teleporter. And the teleporter is very simple. You can pick the pawn up from anywhere and put it on the matching colour teleporter anywhere in the supermarket, the shopping centre, whatever it is that you're running around. So you have the stack of tiles you'll be working your way through, and once you've gone through all of them and you've got all the pawns in their spaces like the orange one is here, you're going to try and find the exit. So for example, this is the green exit because it's got the green man on it, and that is pretty much how you play the game. Obviously it's a lot more complicated than that. The first thing is, as soon as you start taking actions, you're not allowed to talk. The only way you can communicate is with this pawn. So let's just say this green archer is on the lift, on the escalator. You need somebody to move them up the escalator. Only this player can do that. So you put the do something pawn in front of them to remind them that there's something on the board that they need to do. The other thing is these sand timer icons here. So if you move a pawn onto them, you activate them. It means you get to flip the sand timer. When you flip the sand timer, obviously if you run out of time, you lose the game. That's, I didn't mention that, but I thought that was quite obvious. But that is true. If you do run out of time, the game is over. When you go onto one of these sand timer icons, you can then start talking. You can discuss what you're going to do. But also, all of these tokens rotate round. So everybody who got used to doing what they were doing is now doing something else. So you need to think about that and concentrate on that. Also, when all the pawns are on their matching spaces, you have this board to remind you. This says that you are allowed to use portals, and this reminds you which icons you're looking for. You flip over this icon, so you can't use portals, because security's been alerted, they've turned all the portals off, and it shows you where their exits are. And also, you'll flip over this token to remind you you can't use portals. So that is pretty much the basics of the game. There are several scenarios. I've shown you the rules for scenario 1, 2, and 3. So scenario 1 is just a very basic game. Scenario 2 adds the rule that you need to go out the exit of the hero's matching colour. And scenario 3 adds that you put these stickers on the top of the sand timers to remind you to pass the tiles around whenever you turn the sand timer over. That's pretty much it. Either the time runs out and you lose, or you get all the heroes, get their equipment, steal it, and run for the exits and make it. So let's go to the positives and negatives. So the first positive is obviously it is very, very fun. It's a lot of fun to play because nobody's talking, everybody's glaring at each other. You can't point either. All you can do is use the do something pawn, and that's all you can do is put it on somebody and say, I need you to do something. That's it. That's all you can do. The other thing you can do in regards to communication, as the rulebook says, is glare intently at somebody, which is quite intimidating. It's not somebody don't want somebody burning a hole in the side of my head because I'm doing something wrong, and sometimes that happens, but it's only because they want the team to succeed, so I don't mind it too much. It's also because it's quite difficult. It is very satisfying when you win. I count that as a positive. It does make you want to win because you want to succeed in this game. And in the same way, it's very tense because you want to win. You've got that drive. You don't want to let your team down. When somebody's got this thump and they're banging the do something pawn in front of you, they're saying do something, and you can just see in the 4-player game I had 6 eyes just staring at me. I didn't know what to do. Oh, okay, I just need to move somebody up the escalator. That was it. But yeah, it was really tense, but in a good way. It reminds me of obviously games like Escape and Curse of the Temple and stuff like that, where you've just got the pressure on all the time, but it's a good tension. I like the artwork. It's my style of artwork. It's very cartoony. You can see here, these are people running out the shopping centre. They've obviously stolen all their equipment. They've still got all the barcodes on, all the bits and bobs that they've nicked, so that's pretty funny. The player count's good, 1 to 8 players. 15 minutes, we were doing it in less than 10 because we were doing 3 rotations of the egg timer. So it's a 3-minute egg timer, so it's going to be less than 9 minutes for a game for us. And 8+ players because 8-year-olds need to know how to shoplift. I'm just kidding. Another positive is that it is so quick. I mean, again, Escape the Curse of the Temple is only 10 minutes. This is probably less than that. I assume as it gets harder, which I'll get to in a minute, it might take you longer to finish a level. So there are several scenarios. It's not a spoiler. The scenarios just add rules to make the game more complex. So your first scenario is your basic rules. The second one, as I said, makes it so you need to have the right pawn exit at the right exit. This one makes you rotate tiles. These give the dwarf and elf a special ability. This one gives the mage a special ability. And this one gives the barbarian a special ability. So the dwarf can walk through these little doors. The elf is going to allow you to communicate whenever an elf does a certain action. The mage lets you put an extra tile down because they're a fortune teller and they can see into the future. And the barbarian lets you smash security cameras, which is a rule I haven't played with yet, which I think will make the game a lot better, because if there's a certain number of security cameras on the board, you're not allowed to flip the egg timer, which means you can't stop time. So you need to send the barbarian out to the cameras to blow it up. Obviously, can't communicate to whoever has the power to move the barbarian in the right direction that we need to smash the security camera. So yeah, that's going to be quite difficult. One positive that is a negative for me is the theme, because this was already on my wish list due to the theme. I thought, heroes running around the shopping centre after stealing stuff would be fun. Also, it's a real-time game. I do like real-time games anyway, so that's okay. But I do wonder if people are going to say anything. Nobody has yet. I'm surprised that nobody's took the high ground and said, oh, we can't teach our kids about shoplifting. I know I've joked about it a few times already, but I'm sure somebody will do it eventually. But I really like the theme. I think it's great. At least they've tried something different and not just made it another dungeon crawler. On to the negatives. So as you can see, the box is far too big. Unless they bring out loads of expansions like Escape Curse of the Temple do, then this box is too big. But it's still smaller than other games of its type. Escape Curse of the Temple, Escape Zombie City, Zombie 15. I've owned them all. I still own Zombie 15. Actually, this is replacing Zombie 15. I'm taking Zombie 15 off my shelf. But yep, that's all the components, and the box is only a little bit full. It looks like Splendor when you put it all in one corner, but I don't mind it too much. At least the box is still smaller than the other boxes. So another negative for me are the numbers on the tiles. These are the player tiles. Here it says 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's light blue on a dark blue background, and they're very small. I don't even know if you can see them on the camera. They are that small. It's hard to look through them all. It's not hard. It's just not easy, if you know what I mean. It's a bit difficult. Also, the numbers on the tiles here, you need to find them for which scenario you're playing. So this is a number 7. Scenario 1, 2, and 3 use tiles 2 to 12 plus that starting tile that starts every game, I think. That one's the only one that's double-sided, so that's easy to find. But these are very difficult to find. 3 more negatives, not important ones really. One of them is obviously this game plays up to 8 players. There's also a way you can play it with 9 people. Don't want to try that, but it's such a small playing area. You've got these tiny little pawns. You know, they're not very big, but in comparison, and you've got the tiles, which are obviously, if you knock them, they move around, which doesn't happen in the 3 and 4 player games that I played. But if you're playing an 8-player game, there's arms all over the place, and people are trying to lean across each other, because eventually you might have a dwarf down here, you might have your elf up here, mage up here, barbarian down here, and you need to leech across, and you're doing it in real time. You're obviously doing it as fast as you can, and it can cause problems, especially with 8 players, I would say. Also, with all these games, there's always that aspect of cheating. Not cheating as in proper cheating, but cheating as in accidental cheating. When you see something that somebody needs to move, and you put the do something pawn in front of them, you say, do something, please, I need you to move that, and you're thinking it in your head. And then eventually you start instinctively pointing, because that's what you want to do. You want to say, move this here. But you can't do that. That's not part of the rules. You can glare intently or use this pawn. No matter how many times you bang it on the table, which, by the way, you should never do, that's annoying, they might just not see what needs to happen. So people can cheat either on purpose by accidentally pointing or they can do it, you know, just instinctively, like I said. And it reminds me of games like Hanabi, where the whole point of the game, and the game, come to think of it, is that lack of communication. You need to make sure that that is a solid and firm rule. Which leads to my last negative. I think you just need to play it with the right people. You've got to have the right people to play this. They need to like fun games. They need to like games. They need to not worry about losing. I personally would rather lose fairly than win, but with some help and, you know, just a little pointing over here and a little direction over there and a little, oh, I moved him up the escalator by accident. I'll just leave him there now, sorry. It's a bit odd. But in summary, to sum it up, obviously I really enjoyed this game. It's a lot of fun. I bought it yesterday and we played it 3 times. We played it twice, 3-player back-to-back, because we lost the first game, then we won the second game, and then later on when another friend came, we played it 4-player and we won that one. Looking forward to upping the scenarios to up the difficulty level, but yeah, overall, I'm very happy with this purchase. As I say, it's not Zombie 15 off the shelf. Zombie 15 is going to be sold now. It's a much smaller box, so I've got a bit more shelf space for something else, so that'll be my next video. So that's Magic Maze, a simple, quick, light, cooperative, non-communicative, family weight game about shoplifting. Please like this video if you found it useful, share it to let others know about it, and subscribe to the channel for more Game Day First Play videos like this one, as well as other board game related content. You can find me on Twitter at JTR Podcast, and you can find my blog and podcast at jtrpodcast.com. I've been Rob, aka Jester the Rogue. Until next time, keep on shoplifting. In fact, don't do that.